Okay, so picture this. A lone artist on a beach. But this isn't some calm, gentle shoreline. Nope. The tide here is aggressive, it's predictable, and it's powerful. This beach is the stage for a really incredible story about struggle and happiness. Our artist, well, they're not waiting around for some bolt of inspiration to strike. Their work is a ritual. Every single morning, with this intense passion, they start to shape the wet sand. And get this, there are no blueprints, no grand plans for a permanent gallery. It's just about the art, right here, right now. And what they create, wow. It's this intricate, absolutely beautiful sandcastle that just seems to rise up out of nothing. Spire by spire, bridge by bridge, it's a masterpiece of skill and dedication. But here's the thing, it's completely temporary. It's a marvel that exists for just a few short hours. And this is where the real drama kicks in. The artist knows exactly what's coming. As the sun starts to set, that eternal tide rolls in, and without any mercy at all, it just washes the entire thing away. It leaves the shore completely smooth, a colorless desert, like it was never even there. Now, if you were just standing there watching, you'd probably think this person is crazy, right? You've got tourists on the beach, shaking their heads, feeling sorry for the artist. All they see is pointless, heartbreaking work, a cycle of creation and destruction, where in the end, destruction always wins.
So that's the big question, isn't it? If the result is always the same, if your masterpiece is guaranteed to be erased, where on earth does this artist find the strength to come back, let alone find joy in doing it all over again? Well, the answer is pretty incredible, and it's rooted in a powerful philosophy.
To really get to the bottom of the builder's secret, we need to turn to the philosopher Albert Camus and his idea of the absurd. And I don't mean absurd like something is silly or goofy. No, this is much, much deeper. You see, for Camus, the absurd isn't a thing or a state of being. It's a clash. He actually called it a divorce. It's that friction, that tension between our desperate human need for meaning, for answers, for a why, and a universe that just gives us, well, silence. Think about it like this. On one side, you've got us, humanity. We are wired to look for patterns, for rational order, for some grand purpose to it all. And on the other side, you've got the universe, and it offers nothing, just a vast, cold, unreasonable silence. The absurd is born right there, in that gap between what we want and what we get. So when we're faced with this really uncomfortable truth, Camus says we usually try one of two escapes. The first is obvious, physical suicide, just giving up. The second is what he called philosophical suicide, and that's a leap of faith. It's when you ditch reason and jump headfirst into a belief system, any belief system, that gives you comforting, easy answers. Camus says, no, both of those are a cop-out. Okay, so if we can't escape, what do we do? Just sit around in despair? Camus says absolutely not. In fact, he argues that when you reject those escapes, you open the door to a kind of life that's truly liberated, truly intense, a life built on three main pillars. So here they are. First, you've got revolt. This is a constant, conscious rebellion against our fate. It's looking meaninglessness right in the eye and not backing down. Second, there's freedom. Once you accept there's no big cosmic plan, you're free from having to follow it. You get to create your own values. And finally, passion. This is about living for the sheer quantity of experience, soaking up every conscious moment you can, because that's all you've got. And that brings us right back to our artists on the beach. Their daily ritual of building that sandcastle is a perfect act of revolt. They know the sea is going to win. They know it, but they build it anyway. Their happiness isn't some false hope that the tide will stop. It's found in the conscious, defiant rebellion against its power. Now, our sandcastle builder is a great modern metaphor, but Camus had his own original poster boy for this whole idea, a famous figure straight out of Greek mythology. Let's talk about Sisyphus. So the story goes, Sisyphus was this king who was a little too clever for his own good and really ticked off the gods. So for his punishment, they gave him the most pointless, soul-crushing job imaginable, to push a giant boulder up a hill, and the second he gets to the top, it rolls all the way back down. Forever. You see the parallel here, right? It's the same struggle. The builder has their sand and bucket, Sisyphus has his rock. The builder fights the inevitable tide. Sisyphus fights gravity. But their victory is exactly the same. It's a conscious scorn for the forces trying to crush them. They find their meaning in that very defiance. But here's the kicker. For Camus, the most interesting part of the Sisyphus myth isn't the sweating and straining to get the rock up the hill. No, it's the moment after it rolls down. It's the pause. It's the quiet walk back to the bottom. That moment of clarity, that's everything. He's not broken. He's not hoping the gods will change their minds. He sees the complete and total absurdity of his situation. And yet, he chooses to turn around and walk back towards his rock. In that choice, he becomes greater than his fate. He owns it. And this all leads to one of the most breathtaking and famous lines in all of philosophy. The struggle itself towards the heights is enough to fill a man's heart. One must imagine Sisyphus happy. Now, this isn't some simple, cheerful happiness. It's a deep, hard-won, triumphant happiness that comes from owning your struggle completely. So that kind of leaves us with one final thought, doesn't it? What's the sandcastle in your life? What's the repetitive, seemingly endless struggle you face every day? The philosophy of the absurd tells us that maybe, just maybe, it's right there, inside that struggle, when we face it with revolt, with freedom, and with passion, that we can find our own kind of defiant happiness.